If you've been following me long enough, then you know that my video on how to make a woman squirt is kind of what put me on the map.
Squirting. Actually, it's more like squirt.
And I've made a few more videos addressing that subject along the way. But the other day I realized that I've forgotten to give you guys a huge piece of the puzzle, which is what does the experience of squirting actually feel like for a woman? And more importantly, even after using the techniques and despite all of your best efforts, if she's still not squirting, if there's still no splash, then there are some things that you need to know to make it happen. In today's video, I'm going to talk about 6 reasons why she's not squirting yet, what's holding her back, and how you can create the conditions where squirting becomes possible. But let's start with a woman's perspective on squirting and what it feels like, because once you understand that, the 6 reasons are going to make a lot more sense, and any of the obstacles will be a lot easier to overcome. Now, I just don't want to give you my opinion here, so I went digging through forums, Reddit threads, and interviews where women describe their own experiences in their own words. And what's fascinating is how varied these experiences are. Some women describe squirting as a huge pressure release that suddenly lets go like a dam bursting. Others say it's more like a warm gush or a splash that feels both intense and relieving, almost like a deep exhale. And at least one woman wrote, "At first I thought I'd peed myself, but once I relaxed into it, it felt amazing, like a release I didn't know I needed." Another said, "Honestly, sometimes I don't notice anything until my partner tells me, but when I do feel it, it's like my whole body lets go." And it's not always about the physical sensation. A lot of women also talk about the emotional side. At first, there can be some embarrassment or confusion, like, did I just pee? But once they learn that it's normal and their partner reacts positively, many describe it as an empowering, sexy, even liberating experience. So keep in mind, squirting can feel dramatic, subtle, messy, empowering, or a mix of all of the above. And that diversity of experience is exactly why some women struggle to get there in the first place. So let's get into my list. Number 1, she's afraid she's going to pee. Let's just get this out of the way. Squirting often feels for her like peeing. Now, squirting isn't pee, but it can have pee in it, and it is fluid that comes from the urethra, which is totally normal. Many women describe it as an intense pressure, like you are about to pee, followed by a big release. And because of that sensation, the instinct is actually to tighten up the muscles down there, like you're holding urine in. But the key to squirting is the opposite, releasing that pressure, relaxing, and letting it out. And trust me when I tell you that this takes practice. When I was learning, there was definitely a phase where I was trying so hard to let go that I actually did just pee a couple times, but that is part of the process of experimentation and why I try to go first around here and teach you what I learned from my experience. So what do? Well, you normalize peeing. You put a towel down or a blanket that's waterproof. You tell her that you know that it might feel like pee and that you're totally okay with her peeing on you if that's what happens. And by the way, only if that's true. That simple reassurance removes the fear of embarrassment and actually creates a space for her to let squirting happen. Number 2, she doesn't feel safe enough to fully let go. Now, I touched on this earlier, but this one is big and multifaceted, and that's why it's number 2. To squirt, a woman needs to let go completely. She cannot be in her head. She cannot be thinking about how she looks. She cannot be concerned that she left the stove on or a big deadline at work. She needs to feel very, very present and safe. One woman described it as a release of control, not just physically, but emotionally. Another said, "I only squirt when I feel really safe with my partner. It feels intimate, not performative." So if you want to get her there, you need to be the kind of man who makes her feel safe enough to do that. How do you do that? By slowing things down, giving her reassurance both inside and outside of the bedroom, and above all, letting her know that her pleasure is wanted, desired, safe, and that nothing that she could do is going to turn you off. Number 3, she's turned on, but not turned all the way on. This is one of the most common mistakes that I see. So many men are doing the technique correctly, but too early. For most women, squirting happens at the peak of arousal, and this is true especially when you're learning how to squirt. So the build up really, really matters. Women describe it like this. If you go in too soon, the pressure feels uncomfortable or even painful. But when she's fully aroused, that same pressure becomes the trigger for squirting. So instead of chasing the squirt, chase the turn on first. Build arousal slowly and let it simmer. simmer. Make her feel so turned on that a big release feels inevitable. It's also good to keep in mind that she likely won't be able to squirt every single time you have sex. An early morning romp or an afternoon quickie are not the time to try to make her gush, at least not until she's skilled at it. So think of this more like a Saturday night thing, or something that you save for special occasions when you've had a lot of time to really focus on her and her arousal, and there's no risk of the kids interrupting. Number 4, and this is new, she's embarrassed by the attention. To be honest, squirting can look and feel dramatic. It's been heavily associated with porn, which makes a lot of women feel like they are performing instead of just experiencing. I have been there personally. Years ago, a man was trying to make me squirt and he was really aggressive, and I ended up getting scratched by his nail on the outside of my body, like on my groin. But I kept going instead of saying something because I felt like I needed to finish. Now, I did squirt, but I was in pain, which was not the point. And other women online have echoed this. One said, "Sometimes I focus so much on trying to squirt for him that I disconnect from my own body." So if you want her to enjoy it, focus on exploration, not on performance. Again, slow down, check in verbally, ask simple yes or no questions like, does that feel good? More pressure or less? You can even say something like, I feel like you have a big buildup in there, can I try to release it? That will help her to stay in her body and not in her head. Also, don't be afraid to try, realize that it's not happening, bring the intensity down, and then come back and try again later. Which brings me to number 5. She's afraid that it won't happen. Sometimes the pressure to squirt is the very thing that prevents it. It's kind of similar to how men can lose their erection when they start worrying about keeping it up. For women, the stress of what if it doesn't happen can actually kill her arousal. One woman put it this way: I wanted to squirt so bad that I psyched myself out. It just wouldn't happen until I stopped caring. So keep it lighthearted. Frame squirting as a bonus, not the goal. Remind her that her pleasure is already enough whether she squirts or not. And then finally, number 6. Some women just don't want to squirt. And that is okay. She might not like the mess, she might not enjoy the sensation, she might not be able to get beyond that it's porny and performative for whatever reason. She may just prefer other types of orgasm. Some women describe squirting as empowering and sexy, and others admit that they don't really feel much beyond wetness, and both are totally valid. So if she's hesitant, talk to her about it. Sometimes the reluctance is about fear of embarrassment, and she may actually want to explore it, but sometimes it's just not her thing. And honestly, for myself, ever since I trained my body to squirt more easily, it's kind of hard not to now, which is mostly okay and cool, but sometimes kind of annoying because I like spontaneity and I don't want to always have to put down a blanket. And this is where consent comes in. If she doesn't want it, respect that. Squirting is just one of many hot, intimate experiences that you can share. So there you have it. 6 things that may be holding her back from squirting and what squirting really feels like for women in their own words. And if you want to learn more about actual squirting technique, I've got an entire course dedicated just to making a woman squirt. The link is in the description below. It comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee, and in it I address all of the obstacles that we've even began to touch on here and a whole bunch more. Because yes, every woman can do it if she wants to. All you need to know is how to guide her there. From creating the right environment, building the perfect warm-up, right through to the exact technique, I break it all down in detail, so click the description to find out. I cannot wait for you to experience just how much a woman can let go in the bedroom when you allow it to happen. Be honest with me for a second. When is the last time that you felt completely present during sex? Not at all in your head, not trying to perform or figure it out, not attempting to read her mind or her body language, but actually just present there with your body and your lover. That's what my first book, Harder, Better, Longer, Stronger, is all about. Yes, it includes conversations about erections or stamina, obviously, but ultimately it is really about reconnecting to your sexual confidence, your erotic energy, your sense of aliveness. In it, I walk you through how to regulate your nervous system, breathe through sensation, and stay connected to your partner so that sex can be effortless. Because great sex is all about connection. Pre-order my book now to get over $350 in exclusive bonuses, access to my live launch event on January 27th, and entry into giveaways for private coaching, all of my courses, and a one-on-one retreat with me. You can pre-order at the link below or by visiting caitlinvneal.com/HBLS. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe for more honest, shame-free sex education. I'm Caitlin V. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.